The Seahawks are 5-2, which is great news. I don't know that it's bad news, but it's certainly interesting that 6 teams in the NFC are 5-2 right now. So the theme of the second half is not only going to be about looking in a mirror, reflecting on the things that you can do to better your own team, but also finding a way quickly to separate yourself from the rest of that crowd. 2 of those teams are in your own division. So I've got 2 stats here, Bump, that were not great. They would have been maybe the only C or below grade for the Seahawks in the first 7 games of the season. So we're going to talk about them and figure out what they can do to fix them. I'm going to start with one that you've already mentioned today, and that being the run game. While the Seahawks, as you've noted, run the ball plenty, the percentage of run-pass plays, I think, is second only to Philadelphia. They are something like, 6th or 7th in total carries per game or average carries per game. They're not super effective. I thought it was very interesting that you pointed out Ken Walker has so many explosive runs, considering that this is a team that is averaging the 3rd fewest rushing attempts per carry.
Yeah, it's not.
Yards per carry.
Let me put it out there. 5 explosive runs. It's still top of the league.
Yeah.
Right? So that just tells you that how tough it is to get those yards. But, yeah, it's the run game is effective in a different way because they're not shying away from it. Teams are coming in here, and I think initially teams are like, all right, Sam Darnold has to beat us. So we're going to load the box. We're going to really emphasize stopping the run, and they've done that. And because Kubiak hasn't shied away from it, you're going to line up in these formations with 2 tight ends and a running back, with 2 running backs, 1 tight end, and the defenses have to match up. You have to match up. If you're going to have 2 running backs in the backfield and a tight end, and you come out in your small nickel, you're probably going to get ran all over, right? You got to come out in your base defense and try to match up. So what they've shown is the patience with that run game, but they haven't had the success that we thought they were going to have. The success is coming in the pass game because of their stubbornness to the run. Yards before contact, the Hawks are bottom third of the league, 2.2. All right, Baltimore Ravens up there at 3.2 yards before contact. All right, yards after contact, we're looking at the Hawks around the middle of the pack at 302. You got the Washington Commanders at top with 500, and the Titans at 253. Everything about the run game says that it's mediocre. It's all right. It ain't nothing special. And if they want to be even more dynamic, that's something that they have to fix. There's always, I would say, when I watch film, 1 out of every 3 run plays has a lineman that either doesn't do his job or does someone else's job, right? It doesn't look right. And all I can do is kind of speculate what I think his job is. I know what outside zone is supposed to look like. I know what inside. I know what trap and counter and all that stuff. And there might be tweaks where a coach is coaching this guy to do something else. But for the most part, your assignments are your assignments. So I think once they can clean it up assignment-wise more consistently, maybe you see more explosive runs.
One thing that I will add on to this before we get to our second stat is that in terms of EPA per play, so expected points added per play, the likelihood that that play results in a drive that ends with points, the Seahawks have a negative number. It's negative point like 0.06 or something for rushes. Now, that's one of the worst in the league. Also bad, Rams and 49ers. So all you need to know about this is that the Seahawks would like to be more effective running the ball, but that the Rams and 49ers would too. Yeah. That all 3 teams are surprisingly fantastic at passing this year, and their passing offenses have been much more efficient. So in the same boat. Let's go to another one, a category where you are unfortunately not in the same boat and kind of standing alone with one other team, the Jets. The Seahawks are tied with the Jets for the most fumbles given away. 7 times they have fumbled this year and lost those fumbles. They're also the only defense that has yet to recover a fumble from an opposing offense. Colin Cowherd said that Monday night was absolutely awful and then pointed to those mistakes.
That was awful. Sam Darnold was inconsistent. 4 total giveaways, 12 penalties. They called a dumb trick play, Cooper Kupp throwing the ball. The good news, their defensive line, Seattle defensive line for 3.5 hours, man-to-man dominated Houston. I feel bad for C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud sits in the pocket, throws a beautiful ball. He's under total duress. They can't get the offensive line right, and Seattle's defensive front dominated. But Seattle was up 15 points at home in the 4th quarter, and what followed was a punt, a fumble, an interception, and a punt. So you know what Seattle's trying to do. They lead the NFL in rush attempts. They want to be a rush and a play-action pass team. But they also lead the NFL in giveaways. Last night they had 4, and they are just too mistake-prone at this point to be an excellent team. They're a good team, but they should have won last night 33-6.
What do you think?
There are some valid points. The fumble is an issue. It's an issue. I think Jason has a few. Obviously, Sam Darnold has a couple as well. Especially if you're going to run the football like that, it's going to happen, right? You have to clean that up. I agree 100% with that. I also think that you went up against a pretty good defense too, right? 12 points per game, Houston has been given up. They're solid. I'm not ready to call them a great team yet. I think they're a very good team with potential to be a great team, and you do have to clean some of that stuff up. I also think that it's Monday Night Football. It's probably the first full game Cowherd has watched, and it was probably the worst performance by this offense so far as just being efficient. So I'm not going to take that one game and say, this is who they are. I'm going to look at all the other games as well and not ignore that game. But that's why I'm going to form my opinion. These national dudes, and he has a job for a reason. He's good at what he does. They're not diving deep into the Seahawks like that. You're looking at a Monday night game where it looked a little sloppy, and to you, that's who they are. Let me remind you that Sam Darnold is one of the more accurate quarterbacks in the game. He doesn't typically turn the football over. Fumbles are a problem. We have to address that. They do take the football away. There are so many things that they've done more consistently than on that Monday that shapes my opinion of them. So I try to figure out where he's coming from, and I think that's where it is. He watched one full game because it was on a Monday night. He had nothing else to do, and he formed an opinion. Well,
and you pointed they are taking the ball away. It's important to separate takeaways up into interceptions and fumbles. The defense hasn't recovered a fumble. They are tied for 4th in interceptions. So, like you said.
Tied for 4th in sacks.
Sam Darnold is not throwing.
Second when it comes to pressure.
Exactly. This defense has been very good. Sam Darnold is not making a ton of mistakes and throwing a ton of interceptions.
Yeah, the best receiver in the game.
But they are turning the ball over with fumbles, and they're not jumping on those fumbles. And some of that's luck. Some of that is turnover luck. The Buccaneers, for instance, have been really fortunate with some of that leading it to this point in the season. You're both 5-2.
Yeah.
So
the one fumble they recovered got called back because there's a penalty.
Right.
It's like it's facts. They need to recover those dang fumbles. They need to take care of the football, and that will bite you in the butt later on. But his opinion is so strong on this team off of one game that it's just not true.
You're in a good spot to be like, okay, if you can get between 4 and 5 yards per carry, which would be absolutely amazing, and cut down on fumbles, you're a great NFC team. And that's a good spot to be in 7 weeks into the season. We're